I
For context here, Simon is chewing popcorn right now, and he
I'll
can hear
stop.
the crunch
I'll
of
stop.
his
I know.
popcorn.
I'm running at like 50% capacity to everyone. So please keep that in mind. I'm fucking dead. Okay, let's go. Go on, I'm ready.
Okay, so we got another episode for you this week, as promised.
Yeah.
This is in the middle of Simon's exam week right now, so
Towards the end. One more. I'll be done on Wednesday.
towards the
I'm
end,
ready.
yeah. So we're almost at the finish line now. I still got a sore throat. Well, not really sore, it's just hoarse at this point. I think it's worse than last week, which is weird. Whatever.
Mm,
I'll power through as well. I have my handy water
yeah.
bottle with me and some halls in front of me, so I'll grind
Interesting.
through. Be
Mm,
funny by the end of this episode. I can't talk anymore. Just use sign language.
yeah.
Hopefully we
I
don't
don't
get there.
sign, so that's okay. Yeah. Hopefully.
Okay.
Otherwise,
So today we're gonna keep it light. We're gonna focus on just recent news around the NHL, and we have actually a few tidbits of news. I think I'll start off with the easy stuff, and then we'll slowly make our way to the more hefty stuff. There is no Simon Says today, but I think I haven't written down any question of the day yet, but I'll try to think of one as we continue today. So
I have one.
you have one? Okay,
I'll
okay.
ask it at the end.
So right off the bat, I want to talk about Jason Spezza. We didn't talk about the update in the last episode. Uh, I think 2 episodes ago we talked about the Jets and the Leafs game extensively, and
Yep.
we know that the Spezza suspension was coming. A few days ago, he was officially suspended for 6 games. I think this was like during the Columbus game that the news came out.
Yeah, that's right. During the
Something like
Columbus
that.
game.
And then there was news saying that from the NHLPA that Spezza and his agent would appeal the suspension. I don't know if that's going to end up being a thing because he's already missed 3 games now. So by the time he appeals it,
It will be a thing. It will be a thing.
Yeah.
Because even if he misses the games, if he gets a suspension reduced, he gets the money that he would have surrendered a portion of that back, depending on how much it is. He's already making league minimum.
Okay.
No, and I know he's already made a lot of money, but I think it's more so about money at this point as opposed to games.
Okay, makes sense. I had an interesting line here. I think I read it from an article somewhere saying that even though Spezza is he was suspended for 6 games, Pionk was only suspended for 2. Spezza only surrendered 21,000 on the ban. And Pionk, only suspended for 2 games, actually lost way more money than Spezza did.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked. So, I hate this league. It's ridiculous. Anyways, yeah.
It's weird. But yeah, Spezza's first suspension in 1,200 games played over like 15 years in the NHL.
Jesus.
Okay, you know what I want to do? There's one note I put over here. I have a blog, and this blog is dead. I have not touched it in like literally April 2020. So
yeah, I was gonna say news to me, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, surprise. So it was like on a WordPress site, and I put one post on it. And at the time, I was like, I'm gonna make this a thing during the pandemic. I'm gonna keep writing like once every few weeks. I have not touched it in almost 2 years now.
Literally my Substack, but yeah.
And I want to. Like, I know that it does not take a lot of time to actually get to work on a blog, and it's interesting. I like doing it. I just getting started is always the hardest part for me for any project. But as soon as I get started, then the momentum is easy. So I gotta continue that. Anyway, on my blog, I want to make a segment where I talk about the NHL and its Department of Player Safety.
Oh dear God.
And what I want to do, I'm going to use you as a sounding board, Simon. I want to make a portion of my blog just dedicated to a precedence scorecard for how well the DOPS do in regards to their suspensions. So, for example, Spezza's 6 games. Okay, cool. So I'm going to use that as a baseline for now. Why exactly is Pionk 2? Why isn't he 1 or 3? And I want to know why. I wish I knew the damn specifics of why, like what goes into that. I know the NHL and the Department of Player Safety, they have a video that they release at the end of every single like fine or suspension or whatever. But it does not do a good job at properly explaining what goes into the number of suspensions. Sorry, the number of games that suspension has in it. So Example: Brad Marchand suspended 3 games earlier this year. I think it was like a couple weeks ago now for slew footing.
Yep.
Why 3 games? Where did you come up with 3?
Okay.
Another example: Tom Wilson. He was suspended 21 games a couple seasons ago, right, because of his status, and then he appealed it and it got down to 14 games. Why did it go down by 7 games to 14? Like, why? What did the league see in his argument? I want to know his argument. What did the league see in what he had to say that made them reduce it by 7 games? And why is that not a thing in similarly large suspensions? And then the last example I want to bring up, Nazem Kadri. Where the hell did you come up with, we're not going to put a number on the suspension. You're just going to be suspended for the rest of the round.
Yeah.
So you better hope your team wins, because if you win, you get right back on the ice. What?
Yeah, that's I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know.
So I wanna just talk about that, if I could, on my blog, and just be like, here, I'm gonna grade every single suspension in terms of how well they explained it and how well it compares to relative other suspensions that were similar in nature. And whether this is an outlier, whether they got the number of games right and whatnot. Because I think this is a huge issue from the NHL right now. They're all over the place.
Yeah, no disagreements here.
And I bet you every single suspension that I'll cover is going to be like a grade F, grade F, grade F.
Yeah. I don't doubt it based on the stuff I've seen recently, but who knows?
Although the Spezza suspension, I have to agree, 6 games makes sense in this particular circumstance. I don't think anyone condones what Spezza did. If he appeals it and he gets that down by a game or 2, cool, whatever. But he definitely deserved the 6. Like, I think any Leaf fan that you ask right now would also say the same thing. They wouldn't be like, "Oh no, Spezza should not have been suspended or only deserved 1 game." Nah, everyone gets why it's 6. And if you compare directly with the Brendan Lemieux bite, that was 5, and that was a bite.
4, wasn't it? Wasn't it 4?
Was
it 5? Maybe I'm wrong.
4?
I don't think he appealed it.
Okay, right, yeah, it makes sense because it was a stupid thing. I don't think he would appeal it.
5 games, you're right. Sorry, I was wrong. 5 games, yeah.
Yeah, if that was 5 games for a bite, it makes sense why this is 6 for a potential career-ending hit to the head. So
yeah, pretty bad. Pretty bad.
Okay, so that's what I want to say about Spezza. Do you have anything to say there?
Not really. I just kind of want this whole Spezza thing to be over.
yeah, he'll be back in at least 3 games or so. By next week, we'll be talking about Spezza again. Listen, I love the guy, and I really want his jersey still. But again, that was a very stupid thing to do.
It was like, I don't know. As an athlete, I get where I get why. Not that I get why, but like he, in the heat of the moment, I think it's very easy to do stupid stuff like that, especially when something happened to Sandin earlier with that same player. Because again, like I don't know. I'm not saying I condone. I'm just saying I can get why he would do that. Just given that I know a lot of the time, like in like when things get intense and things get really heated like that, and you get really like frustrated or angry, or whatever, like you're not necessarily in the best mindset. And you don't really like. People call it the red mist, and Spezza had the red mist, and he just made a bad decision. We saw with Nazem Kadri all the time.
Yeah.
So like, it just goes to show that in the heat of the moment, a heated competition, like it can happen to literally anyone.
But then again, red mist is red mist. Like, just because it has a cool classification around it doesn't give anyone the exception of having it and actually abusing it on another player. Like when Nazem Kadri was given the suspension, I was like, yeah, bro, you deserve it, honestly. Like, you should not have done that to Jake DeBrusk or who did he do that on the second year? Do you remember?
Tommy Wingles.
Yeah. And then he just randomly did it again against St. Louis, I think.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Last year it wasn't a cross check, but he laid an open ice hit on Justin Falk. I think it was a pretty bad hit, but anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, he's a special person.
Yeah.
Okay. So suspensions aside, actually not fully yet. There is one Brady Tkachuk quote that I just wanted to go over, we talked about the bite incident from a couple weeks ago, but I never got a chance to bring up this quote that he had regarding Brendan Lemieux. I'm just gonna go over this right now. I don't know if you heard this. So this is Brady
No, no,
Tkachuk.
that's
This is Brady Tkachuk on what he had to say regarding the bite. So
okay. I have heard this. I have heard this. Yeah.
this is the one time I'm going to answer this, said Tkachuk. It was the most gutless thing anyone could ever do. This guy, you can ask any one of his teammates. Nobody ever wants to play with him. This guy is a bad guy and a bad teammate. He focuses on himself all the time. This guy's just a joke. He shouldn't be in the league. This guy's gutless. No other team wants him. He's going to keep begging to be in the NHL, but no other team is going to want him. He's an absolute joke. I can't even wrap my head around it. People don't even do this. He's just a bad guy. And he didn't stop there. He goes on and says, it's outrageous. Kids don't even do that anymore. Babies do that. I don't even know what he was thinking. He's just a complete brickhead. He's got nothing up there. Bad guy, bad player, but what a joke he is, said Tkachuk. So I just wanted to bring that up because I was a little proud of someone in the NHL actually saying something like that. Because so many years that I've watched this league, like literally never have I heard anything like this before. Every single interview, it doesn't matter what kind of hit a player had in the game or if they have a gripe with the refereeing that game. The NHL response is, oh, you know what? We got pucks in deep and Carlton bounces didn't go our way. And, you know, on to the next game. You can't go 82-0. Some boring shit like that, right? First time I heard some emotion. And man, I love the emotion. I wish players did this more. Like we see it in basketball all the time. So many players have personality. And I'm not talking about the shitty personality that the league wants to do in the NHL. Like players have to fight for having a dress code here. Like, oh, can we like wear our own brands instead of coming to the games in suits and whatever? That's their definition of personality.
Yeah.
And so the angle that I'm taking on this one is, it is funny. It is a funny quote. And Brendan Lemieux did a stupid thing. But I'm glad someone's speaking their mind instead of whimpering behind the media and being like, oh, you know what? It is what it is.
Did you hear that quote on Cameo as Gilbert Gottfried read that quote? It was so fucking funny. Oh my god, it actually made me cry. If you haven't watched it yet, go back and go. If you hop onto Twitter and type in like Gilbert Gottfried, Brady Tkachuk, it'll come up. It's the funniest thing. Oh my god.
Yeah, he's like Tkachuk.
Yeah. I can't. It's so funny. Man.
Very funny.
Oh, thanks.
Okay. Let's move on to Bettman because you did not. I don't think you know much about this.
I saw I saw a lot of the quotes that came out. Quotes about him not coming. Quotes about people thinking he was leaving. Quotes about the Coyotes. Like I saw enough of what I needed to see to kind of get an idea of what it was about. So let's see.
Okay. So now let me briefly run you through, I guess, the 3-4 major points that he covered in the conference. This was a couple days ago. So first of all, this is the Board of Governors meeting in Palm Beach, Florida. This happens like once a year, I think. But he was asked a series of questions. One of them was, do you think that you will stay on as commissioner, or do you think that your job as commissioner is threatened by any means? And this is in regards to like all the recent allegations that have gone on in the NHL, for example, the Chicago Blackhawks and the NHL's handling of that incident, as well as other like racial matters at stake right now, right? So someone asked him that, and he said, he gave an answer, but by the end of it, he said, like, I plan on being here for a long time, so you're still stuck with me.
Pretty much.
That's pretty much what he said. Like, he's like, he doesn't see himself leaving his spot right now for any time soon. And you know what? I don't understand why we ever thought he would leave.
Well, I think the thing we need to talk about is I don't think it's really up to him, because I think if enough of the owners vote him out, I think he resigns, like he's out. So I mean, he can feel that way, and like if he meant like, oh, I'm not going to retire, I'm not going to leave, fine. But his fate also isn't necessarily really in his own hands. Like it's quite literally in the hands of the 32 owners that are in the league right now. So I mean, sure, I get why he said what he said. I get it, but like, I don't know. Like it's one of those things where I think like he's like that really insecure kid in high school where like he knows a lot of people don't like him, so he says a lot of things to kind of just like with a lot of attitude and stuff like that. So anytime stuff like this comes up, he feels like he has to kind of say something to kind of be like, haha, like you're stuck with me, you guys suck, that type of thing. So I don't know, I'm not really looking too much into that quote just because I don't really know what else people expected him to say.
And honestly, like as someone who's been in his current position now for like nearly 30 years, I think it's like
Mm-hmm.
he started in 1993. And
Yeah.
so 29th year in 2022. That's how long he's been the commissioner of the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna go ahead and make a prediction. I don't see him leaving, barring any health problems and whatever, because he's now 69 years old. Like I could
Mm-hmm.
see him easily go to like 40 years as the commissioner.
What's he at now? 36?
He's at 28, 29.
11 more years. Wow. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
So that'd be like 2033, marking 40 years as him being commissioner. Yo, I could totally
He'd,
see it.
he'd be 80. I don't think that's gonna happen.
How old is Lou Lamoriello? Do you know?
I don't, but like that's an anomaly. Like
What?
he's like one of the only people. Yeah, like let's see.
79 years old is Lou Lamoriello. That guy's a
79. Oh my
dinosaur.
god.
That
Yeah.
literally a dinosaur.
I genuinely believe that Lou Lamoriello is an anomaly, and I don't think Gary Bettman makes to 80. I think we're probably looking at like elite like maybe 4 more years, 5 more years, but I don't see
Yeah.
11 more years. That's excessive. Yeah.
I'm just basing this off of just a hunch. There's no basis to
Oh no,
support
I get it.
this,
No,
but
I hear
like
you.
this guy like looks like he really enjoys his job and he's gonna continue to enjoy it for some time coming. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I still firmly stand by the belief that the league will continue to be hampered with him at the helm. I think he's done a great job, and everyone can look at the work that Bettman has done to grow the league. But right now,
Mm-hmm.
I think from a human standpoint and from a moral
Mm-hmm.
standpoint, this guy is not fit for the job right now, and the league will not
I agree.
progress any further with him as the commissioner. There needs to be
I
changes, but
agree.
unfortunately, there won't be until he leaves.
Yep. I agree with that.
In the same conference, he goes on to say that the interest in the World Cup of Hockey is still there from the NHL,
Mm-hmm.
and they would
Mm-hmm.
love to revive it when they quote unquote can get up for a breath of air again. Because
Mm-hmm.
right now there's a lot going on in the NHL, pandemic, new season, Olympics, and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
he said that there's still interest in a World Cup of Hockey. And honestly, yo, the World Cup of Hockey was dope.
I think it'll happen. I just think we have to wait till after, like you said. I think just after the pandemic and everything passes over, hopefully.
Yeah. Uh, it would be weird to have that and the Olympics running at the same time. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they would go about doing that. I would assume if they do the World Cup of Hockey, then they would not allow the Olympics anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Like it's not gonna be this year. I just think it'd probably be a
Possibly
couple years down the road. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
not. Yeah, probably like 2 or 3 years down, I'm guessing. But
Mm-hmm.
the leagues like fully they're going to China this year because they want the Chinese market. And why wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
you? Like that's why they're allowing the players to go into Beijing. Or at least it's not fully confirmed yet, but it's looking more and more every day that they are going to accept
Mm-hmm.
the NHL players are going to the Olympics. They didn't do
Mm-hmm.
it 4 years ago because where was it? It was in Korea, I think, right?
Pyeongchang, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Can
I
I
think
ask my question of the day right now? Actually,
uh okay, but okay,
or
go
or
ahead.
or
Yeah,
well, wait, it's related to the topic. That's why. Um,
go
do
ahead.
you think the NHL play? Do you think the players are gonna go to the Olympics?
Yes.
I don't.
Really? Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. Okay, like, can I say this? Okay, there's a couple of things we need to keep in mind. Okay, number one, um, and I'll promise I'll keep this short. Number one, um, if any players test positive at the Olympics, they have to quarantine for I think it's like 2 to 3 weeks. Um, in that situation, players who who are isolating in China don't get paid. So how do they get paid? the NHLPA set up I think it's $5 million fund for like players who get COVID in the like at the Olympics and China need to isolate. But what if that fund runs out? That's number one. Number two, the schedule has already been modified for um the Olympics, right? They already have they have the 2 week break or whatever in February or whatever to accommodate the Olympics and everything, which makes sense. You want to be prepared for that situation. But let's say, for example, like the Colorado Avalanche or something, where they have like 3 or 4 players at the Olympics, they get COVID, and they have to push games back because these players are missing, or there's huge amounts of these teams missing from the Olympics. That is like the league just can't afford to push any other games back. Um, like that's just the way the schedule works, unless they want to continue to kind of push back their playoffs into um into June or July. But again, I don't know if they want to do that. But like if they're gonna go to the Olympics, that's a risk they're gonna have to take. And the last thing is this the new variant that's out, Omicron, it's spreading like wildfire. Like it's by far, again, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm any like infectious disease specialist or like any physician or anything like that, but like this thing is traveling like wildfire. Like it's already more infectious than the Delta variant. And apparently, again, that this came out early this afternoon, but apparently Rick Westhead reporting after talking to Andrew Morris, who was a infectious disease specialist, that they're projecting 10,000 daily cases by December 31st. And they basically went on to say that the government will soon have to close NHL and NBA games to fans. So like if that's the case, like are you seriously telling me that the players are going to say, "Let's go to the Olympics. Let's go to China"? I don't see it. Like again, and I understand why people are talking about it, because like, oh, it's almost Christmas break. Oh my God, it's almost Christmas. The Olympics are in February. You have to decide soon. I like again, I understand why people have been, oh yeah, I think the go to the Olympics, but like recently, I've never understood why people have been talking about the Olympics in terms of like, oh, it's a slam dunk, because I think now, like I would be shocked if they went to the Olympics, just given how much risk would be involved in this decision. Like it's like and it's like, will they go? I could see them. Like, I could see them saying, I really, really, really want to go. It's like a kid. It's like you have the money, and there's that toy you really, really want to get. Should you get it? No, probably not, because it's like you're basically using all the spending money that you have, but you really, really want it. Like Connor McDavid's never played in the Olympics before. He really wants to go, but
Yeah.
like, man, there's more to it than that. Like, I just think I think at the end of the day, if things play out the way that they will, that if things continue to follow this track, I think it's very unlikely the players go to the Olympics.
Maybe I was just being excessively optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna lie, the recent news regarding the new variant and everything has also got me feeling a little bummed out. I have a
Yeah.
feeling that honestly, there for people in Ontario right now, there will possibly be like at least a mini lockdown before booster shots become widely available. Anyway, this is not
Mm-hmm.
like a pandemic podcast. We are no
Yeah.
experts on this topic, so
Yeah.
don't
Exactly.
listen
Yeah.
to us on anything regarding this. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I can see where you're coming from. Then I pulled up a couple quotes recently while you were talking from Bettman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I should have added this to my notes before I brought up this
It's
topic,
okay.
but he mentioned so in the report, this is from the NHL. A possible quarantine for up to 5 weeks following a positive test for the coronavirus was part of the information from the International
Sorry,
Olympic
5 weeks. That's what it was. Yeah. Okay. 5 weeks.
Olympic
Yeah.
Committee.
Mm-hmm.
So the IOC is basically saying to their athletes that if you test positive, 5 week uh, quarantine it may be required.
Mm-hmm.
And so the NHL basically said, if I scroll down over here, Bettman mentioned a couple days ago that, quote unquote, we have concerns and we've expressed those to the Players Association, and we've seen that a number of players are now expressing concerns. We'll have to see how this ultimately plays out, but there are a number of open issues, and I know the Players Association has concerns about them. But ultimately, we will honor the agreement as we promised the players we would subject um, to the scheduling caveat to move forward and let them play if that's really what they want to do. Basically goes on to say that it's up to the players' hands. We're going to do our best to adhere to their wishes, but understanding that, quote unquote, there may be consequences nobody's going to like. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I still have a feeling that they'll end up going because that's just the optimistic side of me speaking out.
Mm-hmm.
But I can totally see why a lot of people don't think anymore.
Well, like my main thing is like, and I think this is kind of like the scheduling thing. I could see them working around it
That's easy. That's easy.
if God forbid they need to do that. My thing is the money and the quarantine are the two biggest things for me. Because like, if you're like let's take this who's like Connor McDavid's gonna be playing for Team Canada, Nathan McKinnon's gonna be helping me playing for Team Canada. A lot of guys that make a lot of money in the NHL are gonna be playing for Team Canada. If multiple players have get COVID and they have to stay for 5 weeks, and let's just say they use all of that NHLPA relief fund for their salary that they're missing, like if the players are going to be upset with that, I don't see what the other solution is. Like the NHL's not paying, isn't going to pay for that. Why would they?
Yeah.
So like,
And
I think that's my main question. Like,
that
and
could
go on.
that could decimate a team. Like, think about it. A star player has to quarantine for 5 weeks. You're basically going and you're missing up to March, mid-March of games.
Well, yeah, and like think about something like John Tavares, where like if like he's going to be in China for like the duration of the Olympics, and let's say he gets at the end of the Olympics, he has to spend 5 weeks in China where he doesn't live, away from his family, away from his teammates, away from his friends. It is quite literally almost the equivalent of being stranded on a desert island.
Yeah,
Outside of the fact that you're isolated, like I don't know, like
it's tough.
it's yeah, like I don't know. This is gonna be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm sure the coming weeks will provide a lot of information just because if the Olympics happen, a lot of information and decisions will be made soon.
Hmm.
So we'll see. I bet by the end of the year we'll know for sure what the NHL is doing.
I think we're gonna know in like a week and a bit, but we'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah, because again,
true. The
like
Christmas break and yeah,
yeah, because like if it gets to the point where the variant's like very very bad, and like Toronto and everything starts like booming back up in numbers, like I just don't see how they can like how players can actually want to go back over. Like, and again, I guess right now is different. There's still a bit of time until February or when the Olympics are supposed to happen and things can change, but like I don't know, it's just not looking good at all.
yeah, it's a tough one, but we'll see and we'll keep you
Yeah.
guys updated.
Mm-hmm.
Bettman in the same conference, he goes on to say that he expects the pandemic debt cleared from the players to the owners by the 2023-24 season,
Mm-hmm.
and that the salary cap would jump in for the first time in decades. It feels like in 24-25
Yeah.
the salary cap would jump finally. So until then,
Okay.
it'll continue
Okay.
being stagnant. Um, so it's
Sure.
not going to be next season. I think you and I were speculating it'll be another 2-3 years before that happens, according to Bettman's projections. But that's good because I think I saw a report recently saying that the league just made $5 billion in revenue or expects to for this season.
Mm-hmm.
It's good that again fans have butts back in seats, but it's weird how I'm just talking about this now after we just talked about the Omicron variant and potential lockdowns happening again.
Yeah.
So that's also in the
Well,
air, to be
well,
honest.
they also got the massive TV deal with ESPN,
Yep, that's
so that's a
true.
lot of revenue.
That's true.
Anyways, like again, hopefully lockdown doesn't happen. I'm skeptical, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
Okay. And then finally, he talked about the Coyotes. So he mentioned that,
Oh my God, yeah.
okay, he didn't say that the Coyotes are in a shit situation regarding their lack of fans and they have a bunch of arena problems as well regarding like
Yeah.
whether they should relocate or get a new arena or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
listen, all the fans know it. Everyone who watches the league knows it. The Coyotes, like, it's really hard to have a market there. It's really hard to develop a
Mm-hmm.
consistent fan base in Arizona. And I
Yep.
think how long have they been there now? Like 20 years?
Oh man, something like that. Yeah.
It's not going to work out. I'm telling you right now. My prediction is they're going to be the first team that's relocated, the next team that's relocated.
I could see that. So just for a bit of context in terms of why this came up, for those of you who don't know, the Arizona Coyotes were recently exposed by I think it was a writer in Arizona. I can't remember who it was. Might have been Katie Strang. I don't know. Um, but they basically hadn't paid like any of their bill payments.
Yeah.
Like any of the revenue or anything. Like so they basically had a bunch of bills that haven't paid, and like they hadn't paid the rent to their arena. So that was leaked to the public. And then the next day, I think the majority Coyotes owner said, "Okay, yeah, we're up to date on all of our bill payments and stuff like that." But I think Katie Strain came out a couple hours later and said, I still don't think they've paid their rent for their arena." So yeah, so that's why this whole thing with the Coyotes came up, because I think, as you were mentioning, people are now starting. I think people have always been skeptical if it'll work in Arizona. That just doesn't seem like a very viable market, especially recently. And yeah, Gary Bettman didn't really answer anything or say anything about it other than like, we're gonna leave them there, which to me seems like a pride thing. He doesn't want to accept that it's not working in Arizona, but whatever, there's bigger problems, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Like I think you're right. I think their days in Arizona are numbered.
100%. Like, if I had to make a prediction about this, I'd say like 2025 at most, and then the Coyotes are moved.
I agree with that.
Bettman goes on to say that, so he was asked about the Coyotes, and he said he basically doubled down on supporting that they're going to continue being there, and he does not expect them to relocate or anything, and that they'll work with the Coyotes on finding a proper arena and stuff and getting that whole situation sorted out. Someone asked him if he considers a team in Quebec City, like the Nordiques, and whether or not that'd be a new team or whether that be a relocated team from the Coyotes. Bettman goes on to say, I don't know the specifics of who the Quebec government officials want to talk about. At 10,000 feet, we can all figure it out. But he basically said, there are no preconceived notions or anything. I'm more than happy when governmental leaders want to come meet. So that was a little surprising from my end when I read that initially. I was like, oh, okay. On one hand, it makes sense. More money, more revenue. Why wouldn't Gary Bettman want to do that? But up till now, I've never heard anything promising regarding another team in Canada. And maybe it's because no one really asked Bettman directly until now about a team in Quebec City. But this is the first time, maybe I missed a report or something a few years ago, but this is the first time I'm really hearing anything from his mouth directly about the Nordiques. And it sounds like maybe one day it'll happen.
Yeah, I think it'll probably happen at some point. Uh, I'm like, if Arizona relocates, my mind is on Houston or Quebec. I'm not sure which one yet. I think just Quebec. Sorry, I think it'd be probably Quebec would be my favorite right now, because I think Houston would need to build an arena. So again, but I don't know. It's kind of a hypothetical. It's kind of difficult to kind of answer it, but yeah, I think either of them would be really good. I don't know how much longer the Cardinals, some of the Cardinals, the Coyotes can survive.
Yeah. Bettman also said, when he was talking about the Coyotes, he said they're fine and they will be fine. So if anyone watched Friends, that sounds similar to Ross
No, they
saying,
won't. They won't be
I'm
fine.
fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, good comparison.
But then he goes on and then he says, he basically explains why the odds are stacked against Quebec City. He mentions that the issue is going to be, will we have a team that wants to relocate at the present time? That's not the case. Or will we want to expand? As I said here today, we have no plans to expand, end quote.
Yeah, I can't see them. I can't see them expanding again. I think it could only be relocation. They just did another one. I think it's a bit early to kind of put another one right in the league.
And you know what? 32 teams is a good number. 33 is an awkward number. Very awkward number. And obviously the league's not going to reject more money when the opportunity comes, but I think if anything, a relocation would be next, not an expansion. But I think eventually the league, as well as other leagues like in the NBA, the MLB, MLS, whatever, they'll all hit 40 teams at one point. I think give it like 25, 30, 40 years down the line, like 2050, 2060, we'll all have close to 40 teams. That's my guess.
I think it depends on the sport. Baseball, baseball's not expanding. Too many traditionalists.
True.
Football might expand. I don't see them getting to more than 40 because again, like only recently have I heard rumors about actually like NFL expansion, and like they've been at like 30, I think 31 or 32 teams for the last like forever, and like the NFL is really only dealt in relocation, not necessarily expansion, at least for the last little bit. So again, I don't know. I heard some rumors about Toronto getting an NFL team, which I would absolutely love, but I also don't know how realistic that is. I don't really think that NFL expansion is really that likely at this point.
Did we ever talk about the possibility of a new team in Toronto for the NHL?
I don't think we did, but anyways, it would be I think it'd be something like Hamilton, but
Yeah,
like yeah, like I've never thought it was likely. Maybe it is. I've never really thought it was likely.
I think it's probably more likely than we think. Like
Probably, I mean, you're probably right. It's just I don't know. Like,
Southern Ontario is huge. Well, not geographically, but the number of people who watch hockey and would be interested in that kind of thing,
yeah,
outrageous.
I don't disagree.
So we'll have another segment one day where we talk about like expansion teams and what we think is next for the NHL. But
I'd be down for that.
off the top of my mind, I would say easily something that I can see happening within the next few years, relocation wise, could either be Houston. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Quebec
Mm-hmm.
City, or another team in Southern Ontario.
Yep. I think Kansas is another likely place as well. Former the used to be the Kansas City Scouts.
Oh, right.
I could see that as well.
Good point. Yep. Another good one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know how long we've been going for?
It's currently 7, so I think about an hour. About an hour.
Okay. What we can do, because I haven't gotten to the Milano Zegras thing yet. Okay, we'll cover that
Mm-hmm.
quickly. 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then we'll put a pin in this episode. Okay, first of all, give me your thoughts. Because I thought the goal was amazing. And I'm so happy that that thing happened. And I'm so excited for the future of the league.
It was a ridiculous goal. Trevor Zegras is unbelievable. Like that was like, well, sorry, a couple of things. Number one, the move itself was really nice. The defensive coverage by the Buffalo Sabres was completely off of that, but that's besides the point. Trevor Zegras he took advantage of what he had. I'm not taking anything away from him, but like the defensive coverage on that plate astonishes me. And Sonny Milano, the fact he actually used the hand eye to actually hit it into the net is, I think, something that's not being really all that appreciated, considering how difficult it is. But I mean, it was a hell of a goal. Yeah, but I'm sure we're gonna get onto the other stuff after. But like I thought it was unbelievable.
Yeah, I think on one hand, I'm so glad that young players are doing these things more and more. Andrei
Mhm.
Svechnikov did it a couple of seasons ago.
Well, he actually scored on it. It was a different play, to be
Yeah,
clear.
yes.
Hmm.
This one was a Michigan fake. So Trevor Zegras, he tried to do the Michigan, or at least pretended to do it. He flipped it over
Hmm.
the net, and then Sonny Milano just tipped it in through midair.
Yeah. So
So
basically, so for those of you who are having trouble visualizing, he did the Michigan to get it onto his stick. He basically threw it over the net in a way, and then Milano hit it in. Almost, yeah. But anyways, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And for those who really don't know, the Michigan is the name for this type of trick.
Just
Where,
Google it.
yeah, just Google
Just
it,
Google
honestly.
it. Like, just Google it. Yeah, it's hard to describe.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna be like, oh, you got to turn your stick this way. Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, it's too different.
But yeah, so I'm really excited. However, what do you think John Tortorella had to say about this?
Oh, I've seen the quote. I don't want to talk
You've
about
seen
it.
the quote. Okay,
Okay, so okay, so are you gonna read the quote or or can I just react to it? Cause like,
I'll read the quote and then I'll get you to react to it.
okay, okay.
So John Tortorella right now, he's on a panel. He's not coaching in the league. I think he's on NBCSN, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's either
Um,
TNT or ESPN, but yeah.
so he is on the panel right now. There's two other gentlemen on the panel, and one of them asked him like, "Oh, what do you think about the Zegras Milano goal? Like, do you think it's good for the game?" One of them said, "Yeah, it's great. Brings in a lot of new fans." And then they asked Tortorella, and then Tortorella said, "You know what? I think it's a cool goal. Definitely looks very pretty. It's very fun to watch, but I'm just not so sure it's good for the game." And then he goes on to explain basically that, yeah, it is a cool goal. It looks very cool, but he basically calls himself, I'm like the old timer. Like if I coach again in the league, like I employ like an old timer mentality, and I want to play hard and honest. And I don't want any flashy, sparky goals or anything. I want grinding goals. And this one's cool if you're like in house league or whatever, or like an all-star game. But he wants the game to be quote unquote honest and hard. And this is something that he would go to his own players. He said this in his dressing room and say, don't do this.
Yeah, this is why the game is dying. This is why the game is dying. Incredible goal, incredible skill, and we have a former coach not even coaching anymore, talking about how it's bad for the game.
Just a few months ago.
Yeah. So like I don't really have anything to say other than like this is like just an awful take. But I guess there's a reason why he's unemployed. And maybe that's part of the reason why he said it, because he knows he's not going to get another job in hockey. But like I don't.
He will. Trust me.
I don't know about that. But we'll see.
100%, dude. Just John Tortorella. He's going to, trust me. 100%.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. But then he basically says like, whether or not they're losing fans of the game, he says, you are gaining new fans for the league, so that's good on one hand through the type of goal that Milano and Zegras connected for. He said you're going to gain fans, but at the same time, you're alienating your current fan base, and you're going to lose a lot of fans through goals like these. And I'm like, what? Who the hell is going to stop watching the NHL after a goal like that?
Yeah.
I've been watching for a decade. I want to watch more now.
And the thing is, like, the reaction to that goal was basically exclusively positive, except for John Tortorella's comment. I think that's the other thing we need to kind of mention here. Like, it's not like there was like a portion like, oh, what a stupid goal, or maybe there was, I just didn't see it. But like everything I read was, oh my god, this is ridiculous. Like, and you have kids and minor hockey players trying in practice like 2 days later. Like,
yeah,
I don't see where anyways, like, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know.
I really want to believe your hope that when you say John Tortorella won't coach a game anymore in the NHL, I really want to believe that, because he calls himself an old timer. And you know what? Yes, he is. Old timers need to get the fuck out of the league, man. It's like we're way past that date now.
Yeah.
Like he's in my opinion the same ilk as like someone like Mike Babcock, Alain Vigneault, Joe Quenneville.
Joe Quenneville, yeah. Again.
Like the same type of coach, like grind and crash and hit the net and dump pucks and whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's no creativity in the NHL these days, and or at least they're starting to be. And I want that more. John Tortorella is not fit for the league anymore. Stay on your broadcast, whatever. Don't coach.
Yeah.
But he will.
Again, I have nothing. Yeah, I have nothing now. I think you nailed it.
Okay, so I don't have anything else to talk about. I know you also wanted to talk about the Leafs, but I think we're near time now.
We'll save that. We'll save that for next week, maybe, or Wednesday potentially.
Yeah. So we'll stop it there. Do you have anything else to say, Mr. Simon?
No, I'm tired. I want to go to bed.
Okay. So, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Hit the notify icon. Subscribe. Wish us both prayers for the rest of our week. Simon on his exams and me for my.
Oh my god, it's only Monday. Oh my god, it's only Monday. Yeah. Well. Yeah. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Catch you later.